Namaskar. Welcome to a story that's quietly shaping the price you pay every time you fill up your vehicle. Have you ever wondered why, despite global turmoil and rising oil prices elsewhere, petrol and diesel prices in India haven't completely spiraled out of control? The answer lies in a surprising source: Russian oil. After the Ukraine war erupted, Western sanctions isolated Russia from many buyers. In response, Russia began offering its oil at steep discounts, searching for new partners. India saw a golden opportunity and acted fast, ramping up Russian oil imports from just 2% of our total supply to nearly 40% by the end of 2023. This was a dramatic shift in our energy strategy. This bold move saved India billions, up to 20 billion, shielding our economy from global price shocks, keeping fuel affordable for millions, and boosting profits for Indian refineries. But now, the global landscape is shifting again. The US has imposed 50% tariffs on Indian exports, and the EU has banned buying refined fuels made from Russian crude, putting India in a tight spot. India faces a tough diplomatic and economic choice. Should we stick with our Russian partnership, or try to appease our biggest Western trading partners to avoid further penalties? The impact is already being felt. State refineries are pausing new Russian oil orders, uncertain about the future. The era of cheap fuel, which many of us took for granted, is coming to an end. Soon, the extra cost will hit your wallet directly, affecting everything from daily commutes to the price of goods and services. The real question isn't if prices will rise, but by how much and how soon. The uncertainty is real, and it's something every Indian household will feel. Understanding this shift is the first step to preparing for what's next. Stay informed, and you'll be ready to navigate the changes ahead. Imagine our economy as a Jenga tower, carefully balanced, with each block representing a vital part of our daily lives, from transport to industry to household budgets. Russian oil is a key block at the very base, supporting much of our energy needs and keeping costs manageable for millions. Pull it out suddenly, and the whole structure wobbles, risking instability not just in fuel prices but across the entire economy. Losing Russian oil means our import bill could jump by 7 to 9 billion a year, putting extra pressure on government finances and household budgets alike. India's return to the global market for alternative suppliers will spike demand, pushing prices up for everyone, including us and our neighbors. It's a double blow. We lose the discount we get from Russia and, at the same time, drive up global prices, making fuel even less affordable. Our refineries, shipping routes, and payment systems are all optimized for Russian oil. Switching suppliers isn't just a matter of signing a new contract. It requires major adjustments, new infrastructure, and time. Disruptions could mean fuel shortages, panic buying, and long queues at petrol stations, affecting everyone from daily commuters to small businesses. Geopolitically, Russia is a long-term ally, especially in defense, technology, and strategic partnerships that go beyond just oil. Abruptly cutting ties could strain this partnership, weaken our negotiating position, and leave us vulnerable on multiple fronts. Stopping Russian oil isn't just an economic move. It's a risky geopolitical gamble that could have far-reaching consequences. The consequences could ripple through our economy, impact national security, and even affect our global standing. The transition is anything but simple. It requires careful planning, international cooperation, and a clear understanding of the risks involved. Every option comes with a price, and the stakes are higher than they might seem at first glance. Let's break down how this hits your pocket. The Russian discount kept the base price of fuel low. Losing it means an instant jump, about Rs 5 per litre. Add in higher global prices as India buys elsewhere, and you're looking at another Rs 3-4 per litre. That's Rs 8-10 more per litre, even before taxes. State VAT, often a percentage, amplifies the hike, tax on top of tax. In high VAT states, a Rs 10 base price increase could mean Rs 12-13 more at the pump. Overall, expect a Rs 15-20 per litre surge nationwide. This will be a major shock to household budgets. Why does petrol cost more in Mumbai than in Delhi? The answer is VAT, or value-added tax, which is set by each state government. This single factor can make a huge difference in what you pay at the pump, even if the base price of fuel is the same across the country. Central excise duty is fixed by the central government, but states have the power to set their own VAT rates. Some choose a percentage of the price, while others opt for a flat rate per litre. This means the final price you pay depends heavily on where you live. In states where VAT is a percentage, any increase in the base price of fuel gets amplified. So when global oil prices rise, the impact is felt even more sharply in these states. For example, if the base price rises by Rs 10, a state with 25% VAT will see a Rs 12.50 increase at the pump, while a flat rate state only sees a Rs 10 jump. This difference adds up quickly, especially for daily commuters and transport businesses. States like Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, and Kerala, which have some of the highest percentage-based VAT rates in India, will experience the sharpest jumps in fuel prices whenever there's a hike. As a result, people living near state borders may cross over to neighboring states for cheaper fuel, leading to long lines at border petrol stations. Meanwhile, businesses in high-tax states will struggle with higher transportation and operational costs. The impact of these price differences won't be equal. Some states and their residents will feel the pain much more than others, depending on their local tax policies. This tax structure doesn't just affect fuel prices, it creates economic distortions and deepens regional disparities, making life more expensive in some states than others. The decision to stop Russian oil imports will only make things worse, hitting some pockets far harder than others, and putting extra pressure on household budgets and small businesses. At the heart of this disparity is the VAT system, which varies widely from state to state and shapes the economic reality for millions of Indians. Ultimately, state government policies will decide who suffers most and who gets a little relief as fuel prices continue to fluctuate. The geography of pain in India is drawn not just by natural boundaries, but by tax lines that separate one state from another. So, as fuel prices rise, prepare for uneven shocks across India. Where you live could make all the difference. Let's see how a Rs 15 per litre base price hike plays out in major states. Maharashtra, with high percentage VAT and extra cess, could see pump prices jump by Rs 19 to 21 per litre. Andhra Pradesh and Telangana face similar spikes. Petrol at R105 could cross R125 overnight, a huge blow for the middle class and small businesses. Uttar Pradesh, with moderate VAT, might see a R17-18 increase, still steep but less severe. High-tax, high-consumption states are most vulnerable to oil shocks. Coastal states may save a bit on transport, but high taxes erase those gains. The pain of rising oil prices will be felt most in states with aggressive tax policies. Geography and tax policy together decide the true cost of this crisis. The impact will be uneven, but widespread. A fuel price hike is like a stone in a pond. Ripples spread everywhere. Transport costs soar, raising prices for food, goods, and services. Diesel powers trucks, buses, and generators, so higher prices hit every sector. Food inflation follows as freight costs rise, hurting the poorest most. Industries face higher input and transport costs, making products pricier and less competitive. Job losses and reduced production can follow. Overall inflation rises, eroding your purchasing power. The RBI may hike interest rates, making loans costlier. It's a vicious cycle, all triggered by a jump at the fuel pump. The impact is deep and far-reaching. Let's zoom out. Since 2019, India's fuel demand has surged, especially for diesel. The pandemic briefly slowed things, but demand bounced back fast. Discounted Russian oil kept prices stable, fueling growth. Diesel is vital for agriculture, construction, and logistics, especially in states like UP and Maharashtra. Electric vehicles are growing, but they're still a tiny share. For now, India remains heavily dependent on petrol and diesel. Coastal states import and distribute fuel, but landlocked states pay more due to transport costs. A base price hike will widen the gap between coastal and inland states. The shock will hit hardest where fuel is most essential. The fossil fuel economy isn't going away soon. When prices rise, everyone looks to the government for relief. Cutting fuel taxes sounds easy, but it's a fiscal nightmare. These taxes fund everything from roads to welfare. The centre can trim excise duty, but with export income down and import bills up, there's little room to maneuver. States rely on VAT for revenue. Cutting it means slashing budgets for essential services. Political blame games erupt, but the consumer pays the price. Short-term fixes like subsidies or tapping reserves aren't sustainable. Forcing oil companies to absorb losses just delays the pain. There are no easy answers, only tough trade-offs. The government's options are limited. The public will feel the squeeze. So what's next? Policymakers must secure new oil contracts and diversify suppliers fast. Reforming the tax structure is crucial. Bringing fuel under GST could end wild price swings and regional disparities. For citizens, it's time to rethink our fuel use, embrace public transport, carpool, and support the shift to electric vehicles. The crisis is a wake-up call to accelerate renewables and invest in energy security. We need bold reforms, smarter consumption, and a push for sustainable transport. The road ahead is tough, but this is a chance to build a more resilient future. Energy security is national security. The choices we make now will shape India's economic destiny. Let's use this crisis to drive real change. The journey starts today.